I said I expect miracles all the time. When you allow God to be God, when you understand your purpose, when you understand who your God is and you know his word and you walk in the authority that he gave you on this earth. My name is Sierra and this is your Bestie Blogger. If you're watching this video, please make sure you watch part 1 first, how my bold faith allowed me to travel. The video is just really long, so I split it up into a 2-part series. So here's the second half. Fast forward 2 years and we're at the point, well, fast forward a year and a half, and I spent that whole year dedicating my life to God. I had just got out of a bad relationship. Oh, my fingers, again, I just left Morocco. I had henna on my hand, so that's why my hands hurt. This hand is like this. I wasn't committed to do both. But I had just got out of a bad relationship. I became homeless, lost my business, and it's the end of, is it the end of 2020? Yeah, it's the end of 2020. So yeah, I just got out of a bad relationship. It actually ended with my sister. I don't know if I called her or what, but it's like 2 or 3 in the morning and she calls me. Yeah, it's like 2 or 3 in the morning and she calls me. And I think she asked me, she like, is everything okay? I don't remember why she called me, but at the time, I'm in my room. Okay, so this house had multiple rooms. So I'm in my room. I have myself barricaded in a room. My ex is yelling, screaming, punching, kicking the door, trying to kick the door down. I had to push the bed and the dresser against the door. And so my sister calls me and she can hear the yelling, she can hear the threats, and she calls the cops from Atlanta. I'm living in Florida at the moment. So she calls the cops from Atlanta. They come. I'm able to get out. And so from that moment on, I think this was around October. So from like October till December, I was homeless. And I also had an extra place. It was a big place, so there was another room where I was able to do my business out of. So I don't have a studio or place to do business, to do work. It's COVID, no one's really hiring, and I don't have a home. I'm also in a city where I'm new to, so I don't have like I don't really have any place to go, and I'm still in school, so I can't just like get up and leave because I'm in school and I was paying out of pocket. So I was in a hard place, and so a few months go by and the Lord had opened up so many doors for me. I get a place. Like, the way I got it, I had called this guy, and I called this guy and he didn't have anything. And so one day like a week or two go by, I call him again, and the day I call him, someone had just, he's literally in the place. He tells me I could come look at it. When I get there, I see the guy like handing him the key. He was going in there to clean it out. And I was like, no, it's okay. Like, I'm gonna re-clean it anyway. So I literally go into place. I clean it I finished cleaning it myself. And I finally get a place. A week later, I find a place to do business. I find a studio to do business. 3 or 4 weeks later after that, the Lord blessed me with an even bigger opportunity in a prime location spot. I'm talking, my studio it's around like very expensive apartments. Yeah, like sweet deluxe apartments downtown. Like, some of these cost a couple thousand. Like, if you were to buy one of these, it would be like $1 million place. On the water near the boats and everything. So my studio is literally across the street from the entrances of like all these places. And again, that was 100% by the grace of God, because the way that happened, it was, so I had just paid first and last month rent. I had just got another place. And so when I called this place, they had a waiting list. Somehow my name ended up first. I told the lady I would come on in. I have learned to not put God in a box. And when he blessed me with a situation or an opportunity, to not small mind that opportunity, because my God is too big for that. So even though I knew my current pockets, I knew my God. So I go to the place. I walk around and she's telling me how much it is. The studio I'm at currently for work, I'm paying $200 a month. The place he's trying to take me, they want $300 a week. And again, I'm creating a whole new clientele. So I'm like, okay, the math isn't mathing, but there's a but God here. So it's always going to add up. So I go through, as I'm walking in the building, I have my watch on and I get a notification or a call. I get a missed call. And so like I silence the call, I walk in and I have my meeting with the people, look around. And when I leave, and then she told me all the prices, it was adding up, and I checked my voicemail. My old school called me and they had a check waiting for me. So just because I was obedient and moved, God provided instantly. That's what faith is. You having the faith, it doesn't matter what it looks like around you. Having that faith of, Lord, I trust you, so I'm going to go ahead and walk. So the moment you walk, the Lord will bless you. So that was the beginning of 2021. This was like I think January. And so it's January of 2021 when he did this. And I think this is like the second or third week of January. The first, you know how people do New Year's resolutions? I don't really do that, but that first week, I did a fast for the Lord, because he showed me something in December, and I'm like, okay, Lord, I'm going to dedicate the next year to you. So every month in 2021, I did a different type of fast at the beginning of each month, and the Lord would tell me like how long, what kind, etc. So after my first fast, that blessing, that miracle happened. And so he kept, that whole year, he just kept showing me how great he was. And you guys, when you allow God to be God, I don't think you understand. Earlier when I said I expect miracles all the time, when you allow God to be God, when you understand your purpose, when you understand who your God is, and you know his word, and you walk in the authority that he gave you on this earth, no man can do nothing. God opens doors and opportunity that no man can even fathom. Like, he literally blessed me with this amazing place. He blessed me with this amazing place to work. He blessed me with a new place to live, just like that. And then going throughout the year, he kept putting me in situations where I had to turn to only him, so that he knew how to, so I knew that no matter what, he would provide for me. And I really worked on building my relationship with God. And that is the most important thing. I wasn't going to church. I wasn't going to church, but my relationship with God was unbreakable. It is unbreakable. It's unshakable. There's nothing that can happen that will ever make me question who God is, what he can do for me. That is like one thing that I firmly know. Is that God is good and that God can do any and everything. And he gave me dominion on this planet, on this earth. So long as I'm in alignment with his will, there's power in my tongue and I have dominion, baby. I know my purpose. I know my God. And I allow him to lead me. Because when you do that, I just went on a 6-month paid trip to Morocco, Spain, and Portugal. I was living in every city in Morocco. He had my plane get delayed when I thought I was leaving to Portugal, and I ended up on an island for a week. I got to explore all these amazing things. No income, just God. A 6-month paid vacation. Just by doing his will. Just by doing his will. Like, and that's why when I speak, everything I speak about is about God. Because if you have not built that relationship, you don't understand the power and who he is. And that, but you can't be lukewarm though. To know God, you can't be calling him on Tuesday, hanging up right away, being like, nah, we can hook up next week. God don't work like that. And if you want to live like that, okay, you can live like that. And it's gonna reflect and show. You may have the thing that you physically may see in the world, but then you be struggling in all these different areas, wondering what's going on, why this happening, why my man like this, why my car like this, why my mental health like this. Because you never put God first. But you can't, if you want to live a true blessed life, you got to be a disciple. And one thing while traveling, when using the word Christian, I always try to like tell people like I'm a Christian, but I try to use the word disciple. Honestly, I try to use the word disciple because when you encounter a huge percentage of Christians, the way they hold themselves, the way they act on a daily basis, and the math don't be adding to Christ. So I tried to use the word disciple, because you can't be the disciples, they weren't lukewarm. Like, yeah, they question God. Yeah, but again, they question God because they're trying to learn. But they were learning and developing as people. We were set to be disciples. A Christian is supposed to be a follower of God. But how are you a follower of God if you're not reflecting on how he called us to be disciples? Like, I don't understand how you say you're one, but you're not the other. If you're a Christian, you have to be a disciple. You have to pick up your cross daily. You have to seek the Lord daily. This got deep. I don't know. But again, I'm just letting the Holy Spirit guide me. But yeah, in order to live a bold and blessed life, you have to truly be dedicated to God. And another thing that I was sick and tired of, in March of 2021, I told the Lord, because this was like my third month, this is like the end of March, I had already done 3 fasts that year. And so I remember being in prayer, I remember seeking him, I was studying my Bible. And when you pray bold prayers, you will get bold blessings. When you fully surrender yourself to God, he will show up. You will know him. Trust me, you will know him. And so like some of the prayers that I prayed then, whenever I tell people the story, I always make sure I tell God, like, I'm telling them the story and I'm not praying this again. We already went through this. But when I was praying these bold prayers, I had already went through so much in life that broke me for no reason because of my choices. I had already made so many decisions based off of my will, my desire, my flesh, what I wanted. And I was sick of it. I was sick of feeling empty. I was sick of I was just sick of always feeling like there's more. Ooh. And I didn't feel like, again, I had a really good life at times, but I didn't feel like I was doing life how it needed to be done. So I told the Lord, I'm telling them the prayer. So I told the Lord, Father, have your will. Break every part of me. I'm sick of being broken from my own desires. But Lord, you can have every part of me. Break me down into who you have made me to be. Let everything that I have built up around me be broken, be shed away. You were the one who created me. You were the one who molded me. You know everything that you have put in me, Lord, and I want you to use it all. I do not want to continue to live my life by my will, by my desires, by my thoughts. Your ways are higher than my ways, Lord. So I ask that you come in and that you break down everything that you did not build up in me. All the walls, all the insecurities, and pray that you break and you build it anew. I think there was more to that prayer, and honestly, I think that's the first time I actually remembered majority of the prayer. When I prayed that, instantly in my mind, I thought, here they heard it. You know when you send a message, how nowadays there's like the unsend button? You guys, when I prayed that prayer, I knew that life was about to get real. And it did. It got very real for a very long time. Very long time. I mean, like, very long time. And I remember reading a Bible plan about bold prayers. And in this Bible plan, the guy was talking about, honestly, on the Bible app, I think there's a plan called bold prayers. But he had mentioned that there was a lady, when he was like teaching like a Bible study or something, there was a lady that did not want to pray any bold prayers because she had kids, and she didn't want to pray the prayers because she wasn't, I think she was a single mom with kids. She didn't want to put herself in a situation that would like break her anymore. Because again, when you pray a bold prayer to God, the creator of everything, he created everything in you, and he knows every wall you built up. He knows that. He knows everything. So when you pray those prayers to him, to ask the Lord to break you, he knows every hair in your head, so he knows how to break you. He knows how to fully break you down. So you have to be in a place where you are ready to surrender, to pray bold prayers like that. You have to make sure that you seek the Lord, because you can't pray that prayer and then not seek the Lord, because your life will just seek the Lord. Just seek the Lord. Yeah, it was incredibly hard, because it got hard. The end of that year, it got difficult. It got very difficult. But because of that year, God had worked so much in me, that I had no doubt in who he was and what he could do, because I allowed him to show up in my life. And because of that, yeah, at the end of the year, I had moved out of that place, and I thought I was getting ready to move out of the country. So you guys, I actually had my suitcase packed for 1 year. I had it packed for exactly 1 year. And each season, I would like slightly change out the stuff. Because I had a check bag, my carry-on, and a personal bag. So each season, as it changed, like, okay, well, I had winter clothes packed, so now it's summer on me. But then I would literally pack it and be like, okay, I was ready, because the Lord told me we were going. So for 1 year, every day I acted like the Lord would do a miracle tomorrow, and I would leave tomorrow. Like, that's how strong my faith is. Because if he's like, pack up, we're getting ready to go somewhere. Okay, Lord, today? Is it today, Lord? Is it tomorrow? Oh, I'm ready. It doesn't matter when it is. It doesn't matter when you're showing up. What's that scripture? About like the bridegroom. About the bridegroom returning. And how there were some people, they were waiting with their lanterns, and some had brought extra fuel, the others didn't. So the ones that were sitting there and wait, is that the one? I think there's 2 different verses. Nope, I think that's the one. But yeah, so when the Lord came, they were there, they were ready. They're like, I'm the Lord, and they had the ladder. It was getting low at one point. They filled it up, because they were ready for the Lord. Like, that's how I am in everything he tells me to do. He's not a liar. So if you're telling me we're going somewhere, if you're telling me we're doing something, if you're telling me you're elevating me, if you're telling me I'm going to be ready, I make sure the Lord never has to wait for me. I always want to be waiting at his feet. Whatever he tells me to do. If he's like, okay, well, At one point, you're going to be doing this. Okay, well, I'm going to be ready now. I'm going to start getting ready. Mentally, physically, spiritually, however you need me to be prepared, I got to do it. Because if you show up and I'm not ready, I miss out. And people will be like, you can't miss out. You can miss out on your blessings. And if you are not in alignment with God's will, He will bless somebody else. You ever seen those people where they be like, wow, I had like $1 million idea and I just didn't go with it. And then like 10 years later, I saw someone do it and I was like, that was my idea. The Lord had picked that person. They did not have the faith to trust in the Lord enough. They had it in them, but they didn't trust the process enough. They just had to walk in faith. If they started walking in faith and doing it, the Lord would have provided. They chickened out. They never wanted to do it. They were like, I have this. It's here, but I just can't. So the Lord was like, I tried. So what was going to bless you, what I knew was going to bless you, what I had already put in you, you were afraid to lose. You were afraid to use. So I had to take it and I had to give it to someone else. You didn't have faith enough to move on what you needed to do. You weren't bold enough to get bold blessings. So I had to give it to someone else because the world needed to see it. Someone had to do it. I gave you the opportunity, but you did not trust me. I can't sit here and wait a lifetime for you to trust me. You have to trust in the Lord. When He blesses you with something, you have to be bold in your faith. You can't be lukewarm every day in your life and expect to live a good life, to expect to go and see heaven. Because He said, only the ones who do the will of my Father. Only the ones who do the will of my Father. So if you're coming saying, Lord, Lord, didn't I prophesy in your name? Didn't I call out demons in your name? And He'll tell me, go, I don't know you. He doesn't. Because only, it's like Matthew, is it Matthew 20? All right, it's somewhere in Matthew. But He said, only the ones who do my Father's will. Only will see heaven. So if you're out here and you be like, there's something more in life, and you're doing what you just doing enough to get by, are you doing God's will? Because there's a lot of people who are not living in purpose. There's a lot of people that God poured so much in you, and He's waiting for you to use it. He's waiting for you to come to Him. He's waiting for you to surrender so He can tell you. Only He can tell you. Only He can guide you. Oh. And before this, sorry. So when I started recording this video, one, I didn't think it would be this long. Like the Lord literally gave me a list of things to do. So I wrote and published my first book, and I have that available on my website. And then He wanted me to record 2 YouTube videos, and He gave me the title, or like what He wanted me to talk about. So for this particular video was how my bold faith allowed me to travel. Y'all. All of the side stuff, that was because I had to pray, because I'm like, Lord, I've tried to record YouTube videos for years and I could never, I guess it wasn't time. I could never like really deliver them. But I let the Holy Spirit lead on this one. I prayed for his guidance and he guided it. But before my travels, he had me get ready. One of the business, he had me get ready. So at one point, so I started out as a personal trainer. I love fitness. I love the body. And I kept learning about the body, in so many different ways. So between like becoming a massage therapist, learning to become an esthetician, so like I would go, like I need to learn about the skin, I need to learn about the body, the muscles, all of this stuff. I was a personal trainer. I took a really deep course on life coaching and all the stuff, and then he was leading me to coaching. But then there was a big pause in that, and I'm like, okay, Lord, like it's not time. It's because he needed me to go through everything, and he needed me to go through everything to be able to fully hear so I'm led to share this story with you. The Lord needed to test me. The Lord needed to test me and see how obedient I was. And to make sure I heard from him. And he would send me, y'all, he had me travel to Spain, traveling for over 14, 15 hours. Sorry, y'all. To go to Spain just to speak to someone and then to travel back. And like that trip, like my body was hurting. He kept showing me one day like all these Brazilian waxes like popping up, which is weird because I don't have my spa anymore, so I don't do Brazilian. But out of nowhere, it was everywhere, just all over my social media, which now it's not. I was just doing it. That I saw an event. I saw an event happening, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. So I stopped by. When I met a lady who was a waxtician, and he told me to make an appointment with her. He's like, I know you're about to leave. See if she has room. She books up fast, but there was nothing on her booking. He was like, ask her. She could see something that I couldn't, so the Lord told me to ask her. I booked an appointment with her. Y'all. So I got a wax. I got a Brazilian, obviously. Talking about seeing Brazilians. So the Lord makes me get a Brazilian. And as I'm getting a Brazilian, I'm talking to this lady, this lovely woman, about her purpose. And you know, at one point, I have my knees, y'all, I got my knees to my chest. She's waxing. She's waxing. And so we're talking about God. We're talking about our purpose. And I was just saying what the Lord was leading me to say. And like at one point she gets teary-eyed and she's like, oh my gosh, stop, you're gonna make me cry while I'm waxing your butt. So it's a very, I have learned to be obedient no matter what, even when it comes to talking about God and asking them what the Lord is leading me to ask, even in uncomfortable situations when my knees are up pressed against my chest and I'm letting a stranger wax my butt because he needs me to talk to them. And that was the only way that I could be there long enough to get his point across. I didn't think I would have to share that story on the internet. But again, I got to be obedient to what the Lord leads me to. But yeah, if you want to learn how to have bold faith in God, the first book of my book series is what is it called? How to improve your relationship with God. So there's going to be different points. And examples and stories of what I did to really to really grow my relationship with God. Because some people can be religious but not have a relationship, and that means nothing to God. What's the point of going to his house if you're not going to talk to him? So relationship is more important than anything. So I have that resource. I'll link that below. And I also have, he led me to a women's ministry. So October 3rd will be when he has me releasing Becoming Queen Bee. And so this is about, so if you ever see like a worker bee, like when they're like on something, and like a bee, it goes like in a different path, like they do this little dance move. That's pretty much how we go in life. Sometimes we go over here, sometimes we go this way, sometimes we go towards God, but then we do a U-turn, and then we circle back, but then we go here, then we go there. But the queen bee, she knows her place. She's in the hive. She's in the kingdom. She knows her place. She knows her authority. She knows the dominion that she has, that the Lord gave her. So she is set. She's not wishy-washy and going to God, leaving. And so becoming Queen Bee, it's really about that. Learning how to get your firm footing as a woman of God. Learning how to walk in prosperity, blessed by God. Because having full health, from your physical to your mental state to having wealth and prosperity, all of that comes from Jesus Christ. So October 3rd is when Becoming Queen Bee will be starting. It will be released. And I also have courses that go into depth on learning your purpose. And the course is called Heal, Hear, and Walk. You're learning how to heal and recognize the traumas that you have built up. You're learning how to hear the voice of God in his guidance, and you're learning how to walk in purpose, because your purpose can change and will change in different seasons of your life, and the seasons can be long or they can be short. But again, it's like how God has time. 1 year could be 1,000 of God years, and 1,000 years could be one. You know what I mean? I was just listening to the verse earlier. But time is, our time is not the same as God. So what felt like a long season to you, it could be like that. And what felt like a short season to you, it could have been something that God felt long to him, because he was pruning you properly. So all those resources I will link below. But you guys, thank you for watching. If you're still watching, because this was a long video, and I really hope this bless you. I pray that you seek the Lord in everything that you do. And I pray that this video reach all the people who need it, that the resources reach everyone that need it. And Thank you guys. Love you. Bye.